Did you know that wrestling history was made right here in Mascoutah? It was Friday, November 11th in 1960. The venue, Mascoutah High School. The event, the first ever women's tag team wrestling match in the entire state of Illinois. And it happened right here, before a sellout crowd, under buzzing gymnasium lights, in a time when women's wrestling was still fighting for recognition. In one corner, Millie Stafford and Judy Glover, two trailblazers ready to make their mark. Millie Stafford, from Minneapolis, Minnesota, had already earned her place in wrestling history. Trained by Billy Wolf and debuting in the early 1950s, she was fierce, fast, and unrelenting. She would go on to become an NWA Women's Tag Team Champion, but on that night in Mascoutah, she was already proving herself as a force to be reckoned with. Her partner, Judy Glover, hailed from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Trained by the legendary Danny Hodge, Glover brought a powerful mix of toughness and technique to the ring. Her signature move, the Indian Deathlock, was as brutal as it was effective. Throughout her career, she would go toe-to-toe with icons like Mae Young and the Fabulous Moolah in some of the most hard-fought rivalries of her era. Across the ring stood Lorraine Johnson, a Minnesota native who had been making waves in the wrestling world since the early 1950s. Standing 5 foot 7 inches tall and weighing 140 pounds, she was known for her athleticism and presence. Trained under Billy Wolf's crew in Columbus, Ohio, she quickly became a standout, eventually teaming with Penny Banner and being recognized as a World Women's Tag Team Champion. But Johnson's legacy didn't stop when she stepped out of the ring. She became the matriarch of a wrestling dynasty. Her daughter, Nicola Ann Roberts-Byrd, better known to fans around the world as Baby Doll, who stood behind legends like Tully Blanchard and Dusty Rhodes in the glory days of the NWA and Jim Crockett Promotions, and the legacy continues to this day with Lorraine's granddaughter, Samantha Starr, currently competing in the modern-day NWA, making it 3 generations of women who've left their mark on the squared circle. And then there was Dodson, a formidable competitor in the women's wrestling scene of the 1950s and early 1960s. Standing at 5'9" and weighing 156 pounds, Dodson brought a commanding presence to the ring. She achieved notable success by capturing the NWA Florida Women's Championship on October 12, 1953, during a championship wrestling from Florida event in Tampa, Florida. Dodson was known for her participation in various tag team matches, including a victory alongside Juanita Kaufman in 1949. Her career included bouts against prominent wrestlers of her era, such as Helen Heald and Barbara Baker. Dodson's contributions to the sport were part of the broader movement that paved the way for future generations of women wrestlers. The bell rang, and Mascoutah bore witness to a piece of wrestling history. 4 women went to war, not against each other, but against every limitation the wrestling world had tried to place on them. And in the end, it was Stafford and Glover who stood victorious, raising their arms to a roaring crowd. But really, everyone in the gym that night saw a win for women's wrestling. So the next time someone tells you wrestling history only happens in the big cities, you remind them, on November 11th, 1960, Mascoutah, Illinois, made history.